What's going on? Hope you're enjoying self-isolation once again. I'm recording this on the same day as my other video, so obviously I'm wearing the same shirt. Today I want to talk about my main photography rig that is this beast here. Now this is what I use for recording videos and capturing photos on the photo shoot day. I'm going to break down every single piece of equipment that I have on this setup, and I'm going to tell you the purpose for everything that is on this setup as well. The first item that I have on this rig of a setup is the camera body itself, and that's the SONY A7iii. Now this camera body has been my main workhorse for almost 2 years now. So I bought it when it first came out, and honestly it's just such an amazing camera that I haven't felt the need to upgrade it at all. The A7iii, in my opinion, should be in every professional setup. It's an all-round beast of a camera. It records in 4K 60. You can record in 120 frames per second to get that super slow-mo. Or if you want to record an entire video in 4K, you can do that as well. Now, let's talk about the main lens that I use for this setup. And that lens is the 85mm 1.8 from Sony. Now, this obviously isn't the best 85mm lens you can get, but it's such a lightweight lens and it produces quality results for the price tag. The next thing I've got on this setup is the SmallRig A7iii cage. And this allows me to put different attachments onto my camera, such as a monitor I've got here, or for example, I could mount a bunch of different items just around the camera. And this SmallRig cage, in my opinion, is just so well designed. It doesn't block any of the ports or battery inputs. You can easily remove the SD card without having to take the cage off. And honestly, it's not too heavy unless you put massive attachments on it, of course. Now the next item I have is the Atomos Ninja 5. Now this sits on top of my camera and it records everything that I see through the viewfinder of the lens. It also gives me the opportunity to be able to record photo and video at the exact same time. And this saves an incredible amount of time on the photo shoot day. Now, of course, in the camera, we have our SD card as well. So normally I only have one SD card in here, but the A7iii has 2 slots. We've got our battery as well, and I actually own 2 batteries for the A7iii, and that's enough to last me an entire day. Now, for the attachments on the Ninja 5, I've actually got a mounting clip that was designed by SmallRig to hold the Ninja 5 onto my camera. I've also got a cable that connects to the HDMI recorder and then goes into my camera. Now there's lots of different cables you can purchase. I just purchased the one that Atomos actually designed themselves because it's super convenient to use and also very flexible as well. Now on top of that, for the Ninja 5, we've got one of these big batteries that has to actually power the monitor itself. And then we've got an SSD drive, which I don't actually have in the camera right now. And because the Ninja 5 actually records a lot of footage and takes up space on the SSD drive, you're going to need something around the 256GB range. Now for me, all the content I create is pretty much portrait work. The 85mm lens has a very narrow depth of field and it allows me to create some stunning images straight out of the camera. And this will get about 80% of the content that you actually need throughout the photo shoot. On a photo shoot, I also have a second camera as well that I use, so I'd have this mounted on a Gorilla Pod and then I'd be holding it up as a second perspective. But for my photos, for my behind the scenes content, for the model and the model promo as well, this setup works for every single one of those. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at exactly how I'd set this up for a photo shoot day. Okay, to assemble this rig, you're going to need 2 things, and these are very simple. You're going to need a 10-cent coin, and this is going to be able to mount your camera to the cage itself. And you're going to need an Allen key that actually comes with the Ninja 5. Okay, let's start right from the beginning. So we're starting with the camera body that I use, which is the A7iii. And then we've got the 85mm lens. Now we're going to actually add the SmallRig cage to the camera. Now this allows me to add additional attachments anywhere around the camera. And now that it's pressed into place, we're going to grab our 10-cent coin and then we're just going to screw it into the tripod mount. Now after adding the cage onto the camera, now we can add all of our accessories and attachments onto the camera. So the first thing I'm going to add now is the Ninja 5, which is the monitor and external recorder that I use. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our Allen key And we're going to add our small rig mount just on top of the camera just here. So you can see for this attachment, there's 2 screws that move around just here, and they just screw into the small holes we got just on top of the camera. Now after adding the mount, we're going to add the external recorder onto that now. Now after grabbing the recorder, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a battery onto the recorder. Now there's our battery. Next thing we're going to add is the SSD drive, and that goes straight in there. After assembling the Ninja 5, now we're going to actually add it to our main camera. And we'll just screw it in. Now there's our monitor, now properly attached to the camera. Next thing we need to add is the HDMI cable, and that connects from the recorder itself into the camera here. I'll actually thread this through one of the holes in the small rig cage, and then it just plugs in straight into the HDMI input just there. Now we're going to switch on the setup, so switch that on. That'll turn the camera itself on, and then we're going to hold that down, and then that'll switch on the monitor. Okay, so here's how my setup actually works. So you can see just on the Ninja 5 here, there's a record button just here, so I press that. So that records everything that I see through the viewfinder, and I can just go ahead and just take photos, and that won't actually affect the recording itself. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more photography content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.